On the morning of February 24th, 2019, a chilling call pierced through the 911 dispatch center. 40-year-old Dixie Denise Villa was frantic on the other end of the line. She reported a 7-month-old baby unresponsive. Paramedics raced to the scene, sirens wailing as they fought against time. They found Abigail Lobisch lifeless, her tiny body unmoving. Desperate hands worked feverishly, performing CPR, fighting to bring her back, but the battle was already lost. Then came Anna Lobisch, Abigail's mother, stepping into a scene she could have never imagined, a sea of emergency personnel, flashing lights, controlled chaos. Panic gripped her as she searched for answers. "Are my children okay?" she asked an EMT. "My son is 2 years old, and my baby girl is 7 months," she said when pressed. The response shattered her world. Her baby was gone. In that moment, everything changed forever. The autopsy report found little Abigail's death was caused by a lethal amount of diphenhydramine in her bloodstream, roughly double the amount that is proven fatal in other infant deaths. Diphenhydramine is an over-the-counter antihistamine used to relieve symptoms of allergies and colds, which also goes by the brand name Benadryl, also induces sleep. Children younger than age 6 are advised not to use diphenhydramine unless directed by a doctor. Toxicology testing found the level of diphenhydramine in Abby's bloodstream at 2,400 nanograms per milliliter. The average concentration found in infants who have died from diphenhydramine is 1,400 nanograms per milliliter. The autopsy results set in motion an investigation into Abby's death, and Denise Villa, the woman who had been caring for her on the day of her death, was at the center of the investigation. Dixie ran an in-home daycare at a military reservation in Honolulu, Hawaii, and came highly recommended to Abby's mother, Anna, a respiratory assistant who had been using her services Monday through Friday for a few months before Abby's tragic death. According to court documents, on February 23, 2019, Anna dropped Abby and her 2-year-old brother off at the Aulani Hotel, a Disney resort, where Dixie had stayed the previous night with her 2 children. After spending the day at the pool at the resort, Dixie brought the 4 children back to her home. She told detectives all 4 children slept in one bed, and that Abby was sleeping face down on her chest, and the other 3 children were lying next to her. Dixie said Abby had gotten sunburned at the resort and applied lotion on the burn before she put her to bed. At about 8:30 the next morning, Dixie saw Abby laying face down. She said that her skin looked splotchy and she was cold to the touch. When asked if she had given Abby anything else to relieve the symptoms of the sunburn, Dixie said she had only applied lotion and had not given Abby any other medications, which is in stark contrast to the autopsy results. After a 5-month investigation, Dixie was arrested and charged with manslaughter, accused of poisoning baby Abby with Benadryl. She was booked into jail on July 20th, 2019, after turning herself into police. The investigation revealed her daycare was unlicensed, and she had been arrested numerous times in the past on battery and DV charges from 1997 to 2006 while living in Hillsborough County, Florida. She was convicted for DV battery in 1998 and for simple battery in 1999. Dixie had continued to operate the unlicensed daycare at the military base despite being shut down several times by military police. Katie Camarillo, who lived next door, said she witnessed unsupervised toddlers in the backyard playing in unsafe conditions, including one incident in which a child was playing with a barbecue lighter. Shortly after Abigail's death, Katie and other neighbors of the daycare showed up at an Army town hall meeting at Fort Shafter that was being held to gather comments about housing problems. At the meeting, Katie told Army officials that if you all knew for the span of over a year now that this had been going on at this home, why did you let it go on for this long? Now, the Army has completed an investigation into Dixie's unlicensed daycare, as well as the prevalence of unauthorized daycares and what the Army is doing to deal with such providers. Investigators found a disjointed system of different agencies' response to the reports of alleged violations and a lack of clear procedures for dealing with the violations. According to the report, a number of factors contributed to the prevalence of unauthorized child care providers, including the lack of available child care. More than 500 Army children were on wait lists for child care in Hawaii in 2018. But the Army has yet to issue any remedies to the findings from the investigation. Dixie's husband, Aaron Villa, an active duty Navy sailor, filed for divorce soon after Abby's death. He was granted a temporary restraining order and is seeking sole legal and physical custody of the couple's 2 children because she is, quote, not capable of safely caring for the children and neglects children to the extent that they are not safe in her custody. Both Aaron and Dixie moved out of the military base. Dixie has stated that she has no permanent home and has been couch surfing with friends. Although Dixie had been arrested in connection with Abby's death, the system seemed to work in her favor. A judge reduced her bail, enabling her to walk out of jail, while Anna was trapped in an unrelenting nightmare, forced to exist in a world where her daughter's killer roamed free. Then came the delays. 13 times the trial was postponed. 5 years passed before the case finally saw the inside of a courtroom. 5 years of grief, anger, and an unbearable weight pressing down on Anna. Not only had she lost her baby, but every single day she carried the crushing reality that the person responsible was out in the world living her life. Though Abby was only here for 7 fleeting months, the imprint she left on Anna's heart was immeasurable. She was just beginning to explore, learning to crawl, finding her balance as she tried to sit up on her own, her tiny hands reaching out with curiosity. Her eyes sparkled when she saw her mother, filled with the kind of love and trust that only a baby can give. And her giggles, pure, joyous, unfiltered, will forever echo in Anna's heart. Nothing can fill the hole left behind. No amount of time, no words, no justice. The pain is eternal, a shadow that lingers in every waking moment, every sleepless night, every breath Anna takes for the rest of her life. Dixie's trial finally began on November 6, 2024, after 5 years of delays. It was a long-awaited moment for Abby's family, who endured years of postponed court dates and legal battles. It has been a painful, long, and exhausting wait, Anna said, but we are ready to finally move forward and hopefully get justice for Abby. Dixie's trial was filled with intense moments that kept the courtroom on edge. In opening statements, prosecutors painted Dixie as a reckless caregiver who knowingly gave 7-month-old Abby a fatal dose of diphenhydramine to make her sleep. The defense countered, arguing that there was reasonable doubt about Dixie's role in Abby's death. The medical examiner revealed that Abby had 24 nanograms per milliliter of diphenhydramine in her bloodstream, nearly double the amount proven fatal in infants. This was a major blow to the defense. Abby's mother took the stand, delivering an emotional impact statement that left many in the courtroom in tears. The defense repeatedly objected, claiming her testimony was prejudicial.
Okay, Your Honor, I stand before you today as a mother whose world was shattered when my beautiful daughter Abby was taken from me on February 23rd, 2019. Please don't be confused by the date. A mother's intuition is never wrong. From that day to today, May 7th, 2025, it has been over 6 long years, more than 2,260 days. In all that time, my heart has never stopped hurting. My life has been defined by grief and loss and the pain of living without Abby is a heavy weight I will carry every single day for the rest of my life, and until Abby and I are finally reunited. Sorry. I was told to come up here and to talk about Abby. The reality is, she was taken from me before I had the chance to see who she would become. She came into this world as quickly as she was taken out by the defendant. Abby was a sweet baby, so loving, so full of light. She had the kindest eyes, and anyone who met her instantly fell in love with her gentle spirit. Her presence was calming, beautiful, and pure. Sweet Abby was only 7 months old when she was cruelly ripped from this world. Since then, my family and I have missed. I'm sorry, I'm shaking so bad. Her first birthday, her first Halloween, her first steps, her first words, and her first day of school. The milestones every parent looks forward to having been stolen. I will never watch her grow, never see her graduate, and never know the person she was meant to become. This is only a fraction of the moments I missed out on. I'll never hear her call me mama or comfort her through her toughest moments. All the dreams I had for her were destroyed the day she died, and nothing can ever bring her back. What made this unbearable loss even worse was how I was treated after she was killed. The defendant, the person who killed Abby, not only showed no remorse, she actively blocked me from accessing support after taking Abby's life. She harassed me, she shamed me.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this. It's unsubstantiated. The government indicated they were doing an investigation during trial. Nothing substantiates the fact that my client was harassing Ms. Lobisch.
Ms. Lobisch, find your comments about what you think is the appropriate sentence for the defendant here.
During the trial, the pain that I endured reached a new level. I had to face the defendant after almost 6 years. I had to sit there while she smirked and smiled during my testimony, showing no remorse. The defendant not only mocked me, but looked me in the eye and laughed as I tried to speak
I'm
Abby's
going to
truth.
object to that. There is no record that indicates that my client did anything.
Counsel, this is sentence saying she is the mother's victim, baby Abby. Allow her, but we all went through the trial. Okay, we all sat through this trial. So this is her. This is the mother of baby Abby. I'll allow some extent leeway for her. Continue.
The defendant not only mocked me, but looked me in my eye and laughed as I tried to speak Abby's truth. Ironically, when it came for the mistrial motion, she couldn't even look at me. Deep down, she knows what she did. The trial felt like a second attack. I hoped the courtroom would be a place for justice where Abby's truth could finally be heard. Instead, it became another platform for lies and fabricated stories, another place where I was blamed, belittled, and re-traumatized. Your Honor, it wasn't me who suffered only. My sons, Zachariah and Hoku, have both been deeply affected. Zachariah lost his baby sister, and that loss is something no child should ever have to carry. He was in the home when all of this happened. He remembers her, he grieves her, and he misses her. Hoku never got to meet Abby, but he talks about her all the time. She is a part of their lives because we keep her memory alive every single day. In our home, Abby is and will never be forgotten. Yet through all of this, Abby's story has reached people far beyond this courtroom. Her story has sparked conversations, raised awareness, and inspired others to speak out. Abby has an army of followers and supporters who stand behind her, as millions have seen her story all over the internet, in the news, and in the paper. Her story has reached other countries outside of Hawaii. She's shown the world the danger of giving children over-the-counter medications like Benadryl to make them sleep. Through this unbearable tragedy, others have found the strength to speak up for other children. Abby's life mattered, and she has made a difference, even though she was taken far too soon. My hope is that Abby's story has educated others enough to not make the same poor choices the defendant made that night. But no amount of change can bring her back. No justice can ever truly repair or replace what's been lost. But justice is still necessary. Because people like the defendant should not be given the freedom to ever hurt another person again. Children like Abby deserve to be protected. No parent or family should ever have to suffer the way that I have, the way that Zachariah has, the way that Hoku has, and ultimately, let's not forget, the way that Abby has. She was left alone that night for hours without her mama. The defendant could have made a better choice that night to call me. As Abby's mama, I would have dropped everything if I knew my babies were unsafe. She did not give me that choice and showed zero remorse for her own. Your Honor, I ask that you hold the defendant accountable, not just for me, but for Abby, for my sons, for every family who's been through this kind of pain. This woman has shown no care, no remorse, and no respect for human life. She does not deserve leniency. She deserves the fullest extent of justice after walking free for almost 6 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dixie's attorneys attempted to declare a mistrial, arguing that new evidence about Anna's mental health had surfaced, calling her credibility into question. The judge denied the request, but allowed the defense to file a formal motion. In closing arguments, prosecutors hammered home that Dixie had given Abby the fatal dose of Benadryl to help her, quote-unquote, rest after a long day. The defense insisted there was reasonable doubt and urged the jury to consider alternative explanations. After 7 hours and 39 minutes of deliberation over 3 days, the jury found Dixie guilty of manslaughter. On May 7th of 2025, Dixie was finally sentenced to 20 years in prison. Outside the courtroom, prosecutors stated that while justice had been served, there were no winners in this case. This trial was 6 years in the making, every moment charged with emotion, tension, and heartbreak, but it was finally over, resulting in justice for Abby. But how did it come to this? A 7-month-old baby not only being overdosed on Benadryl, but given twice the dose known to be fatal in infants. It started with a day at the pool. Abby, her 2-year-old brother, and Dixie's own children spent hours in the sun. According to Dixie's statements to police, instead of protecting them, she let them all burn. If Abby was truly sunburned, as Dixie claimed, then there's no doubt she would have been miserable, restless, and impossible to soothe. A 7-month-old baby with a painful burn would be horribly uncomfortable and hard to settle down. Infants under 12 months shouldn't be exposed to direct sunlight for extended periods. A sunburn can happen in as little as 10 minutes, leading to heat stroke, dehydration, and even death in severe cases. So if Abby was sunburned, it wasn't just carelessness, it was negligence. And if she was fussy and hard to soothe, was the Benadryl the convenient solution to quiet her? Between the sunburn and the lethal dose of Benadryl, little Abby endured unimaginable suffering in the hours before her death. The burn itself would have been agony, but that wasn't the worst of it. Diphenhydramine overdose can trigger a hellish storm inside the body. Convulsions, seizures, and piercing stomach pain, just to name a few. Abby had twice the amount proven fatal in infants. That kind of toxicity doesn't just make a baby sleep, it shuts down their body entirely. And the most gut-wrenching part, she suffered alone. You can't convince me that Dixie was soothing her, cradling her, or trying to ease her pain. No, this was about control, about silencing an infant who was inconvenient. It's infuriating, heartbreaking, and unforgivable. We may never truly know what was really going through Dixie's head the night Abby died. We are still left with so many questions, and even if we find the answers someday, they will unfortunately never bring Abby back. For Anna and all who loved Abby, justice is not the end, because grief has no finish line. The weight of her loss is unrelenting. It presses down on Anna day after day, a pain that will never fully fade. Abby's absence is everywhere, in the quiet moments, in the laughter that should have been, in the milestones that will never come. But maybe now, with this chapter finally closing, Anna can find a sliver of peace. Maybe for the first time in years, she can exhale without drowning in the what-ifs. Abby was a light, pure and radiant, taken far too soon. But her memory, that will never fade. Rest in love, precious little Abby. I truly hope you are dancing in the arms of angels and resting in peace. We also invite you to join our mission to advocate for the most vulnerable members of our society, our children. By becoming a member of our YouTube community or supporting us on Patreon, you will gain access to our uncensored content while connecting with a dedicated group of individuals who share a passion for protecting children. In addition to our videos, we are excited to announce the launch of our podcast, Little Voices. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other major platforms, this podcast offers a new way to engage with our content while you're on the go, whether you're working out, driving, or simply multitasking. Little Voices delivers powerful storytelling that uncovers some of the most shocking cases of child victims, illuminating the urgent need for legislative reform and harsher penalties for those who harm children. We need your help to expand our reach. Please take a moment to listen, rate, and review our podcast. Your feedback is invaluable in helping us reach new audiences and amplify our message. You can find the link to our Apple podcast in the description and pinned comment of this video, or simply search for Little Voices by Inspector Genxr on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. Together, we can make a difference.